Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and we are discussing why The Pit is the worst DLC of all time.
Jeez Louise, what the fuck?
Okay, this time for real. Roll with it. It's a joke, okay? We're actually talking about why Mothership Zeta is the best DLC of all time.
Get the fuck out of here!
This time, for real, we're talking about Point Lookout and why it is the best Fallout 3 DLC. This one, not a meme. I'm laying down the defense. I believe this is the case, and I want to hear what you think is the best Fallout 3 DLC. Let me know why down below. But with Fallout 3 and its DLC history, it's quite interesting when you really look at it, right? We have Operation Anchorage, which I personally played for the loot. I don't really think that one's all that good. You got Broken Steel, which was made solely because people complained so much that the game ended and they could not continue playing with their character afterwards. Then you've got Point Lookout, which I find to be quite an interesting foray. You've got The Pit, which is a really cool story. And you've got Mothership Zeta's just out in the corner over there, just being a weird kid doing its own thing. Like, you can stay over there. I don't really like you that much anyway. So out of that whole bunch of DLC, I think Point Lookout is the best. And I'm going to explain why. To get started, I need to take a look at Fallout 3 as a whole and why I enjoyed that game so much. The part I love most about Fallout 3 is actually its exploration. It is unmatched. Its atmosphere during exploration is untouchable. And the reason this game has so much atmosphere when you are trekking across the wasteland is you're finding landmark after landmark, seeing how civilization has tried to bounce back, what they've converted these destroyed locations into in order to survive. And of course, some people doing dark things with that and learning more about the characters in each of these very unique locations. There's just a lot of thought in the point A to point B in Fallout 3, and I adore it so much for that. And it's impossible to beat that moment you exit the vault and see all of the destruction. It's almost beautiful, but yet horrifying at the same time. What's interesting is those emotions that I experienced while exploring Fallout 3's Capital Wasteland, I get that same feeling with Point Lookout, except they managed to also flip it on its head at the same time, because while Fallout 3's atmosphere is driven by the fact that the whole wasteland is destroyed and you're seeing how exactly civilization has converted everything, Point Lookout has not been touched by the Great War. It's just been abandoned, and so you're entering instead a complete mystery, but the atmosphere still gives you that same feeling, although it's driven from a completely different source, and I love it so much for that. So for those who need a little bit of a recap, what happens is upon discovering a little bit of a riverboat port, you make your way to Point Lookout. The reason for that is you're looking for a woman by the name of Nadine, who is a woman's daughter, of course. Nadine, adventurous spirit, went out on her own, went to do her own thing. You're looking for her here in Point Lookout. However, your adventures bring you to Calvert Mansion, and in this mansion that has been long abandoned, we have Desmond, who's moved in with a sniper rifle and 2 puppies. You're going to fight your way through some tribals. You have no idea what's going on. And this part I really liked. It's aged quite well because there was some locomotion to Fallout 3's gameplay, which, you know, as like a kind of anti-first person shooter, it is surprising to see people like breaking through walls, for you to fall down pits and have this moment-to-moment gameplay that was a little more engaging in these skirmishes rather than just kind of what Fallout 3 is, which is, oh, a pocket of super mutants. Bop, 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 bop. It was a little bit different. I like that. But then you meet Desmond, right? You finally sit down, you get to talk with this nice gentleman here, and that's when I was hit with this blast from the past moment. I remember with Fallout 4 speculation, back in the pre-Fallout 4 days, like 2014, Desmond said, I have to head north for the next great game. This was at the end of the DLC. And I remember when that happened, I was like, whoa, that was like a big part of speculation as to why Fallout 4 was going to be set in the Commonwealth, and here it is again. I completely forgot about it, because now with the replicated man quest being in Fallout 3, and we know that of course Fallout 4 is set in the Commonwealth, the focal point really went towards that character and that quest line. But recalling the huge part Desmond played in that speculation, I'll admit, a little bit of a nostalgia bump here. Anyway, you start to learn that you're a part of some type of mission here to get rid of these tribals, right? That's your clear goal, but behind it, you're trying to find the mastermind to the tribals, and it turns out it's Calvert, the owner of that very mansion that had supposedly been abandoned. What's really interesting about the tribals is that they're following a brain of Calvert who pretty much is guiding them to attack Desmond, to get rid of them, because what's happening is these two are sort of competing in a way, and it's an ongoing game that's been happening for 200 years and will continue to happen afterwards. And I want to see more Fallout entries try to embrace this, because I thought it was such a cool, tucked away story. But yeah, these tribals are just following Calvert because he's giving them like visions. And so he's kind of just guiding him along. What happens is also there's this fruit that's involved, like a punga fruit. And you have to take a bite of it because you got to join the tribals and find out what's going on the inside. And once you do, my favorite part of the DLC happens. And I remember I was such an idiot. I was such an idiot. I thought that this part here where you're seeing all these random bobbleheads, I thought that hallucination, I was collecting them all. I'm like, whoa, the game's bugging out, dude. Idiot. Idiot. I mean, I kind of want some fruit right now.
Oh. What the hell? I don't feel so good. KOTOR? What's going on? Again? KOTOR? Nah, what's going on? Whoa. Oh.
Of course, you make a choice at the end. Who are you going to side with? But the story itself was very interesting, I thought, and played a bigger part into the entire Fallout universe. Of course, speculation, but also just the idea of a game continuing on, Desmond going somewhere else to play this game, to continue to compete. I thought that stuff was really interesting, but it's also the atmosphere that's carrying into some of its creepier side locations. I mean, creepiness kind of drives this entire Point Lookout ship. It's whether you're going into the Herzog mine and you're thinking, oh my God, there's like baby heads falling and there's people blowing up, there's traps everywhere, there's cameras flashing, stuff's happening here, and it's kind of spooking me out, only to find, like, at the end of all of this, kind of underwhelming. It's a little kid who left the tribe and came to live here because he was considered an outsider because he grew up normal. That, or the Krivbechne, which sort of continues that Dunwich-like storyline of some type of cult stuff happening in the Fallout wasteland. This time you're going out to recover a book, and when you do, if you give it back to the man who sent you out there, he's gonna go into his basement and start worshiping a dead body. And it's like, dude, no wonder I was terrified of this game when I was a little kid. I used to be scared as all hell from Fallout 3. Now I think I'm just like desensitized. I think I'm just used to seeing messed up stuff in this universe. But that's when I decided to just blow his head off. So I'd say I did the right thing here. You know, I love that freedom of choice there. But for me, it's from the atmosphere to those side quests. Just everything's kind of driven around this mystery, this Lovecraftian vibe it gives off. It's very similar to what Fallout 3 has as an atmosphere, so it feels like just more Fallout 3, but what it's built upon, that foundation, I feel it actually manages to push beyond that in a couple of ways because it's its own creation. It's not relying on, ooh, what happened to the Lincoln Memorial or something along those lines. It's like, why are people not here in this creepy, swampy, misty looking place? Gee, I wonder why. But normally when you're exploring, say, Fallout 3, there's usually like a centerpiece in any Bethesda Game Studios game, and you tend to circle your explorations around that, usually in like little pockets, like this region has something here in the center, this region over here has this in the center over here, and so you kind of base your exploration around that. It helps you guide your way without constantly opening maps, and it's something that they do ever so subtly, and it works really well. What's interesting is in Point Lookout, you really don't have that. You kind of just open up the DLC to appear to your left, which has a giant Ferris wheel, which really doesn't lead anywhere, and ahead of you are swamps, and off to the right you do see a mansion, but there's no centerpiece. It is very much scattered and open, and when you start going into the heart of the swamps, it's just very much like enemies can attack you from anywhere. You feel very vulnerable. So the atmosphere here across the stories being told, whether side quest, main quest, of course the actual location itself, it's really pushing it forward. And if you're a big fan of atmosphere, you're gonna still love Point Lookout. And for me, that is why it is the best Fallout 3, I'm knocking stuff over, best Fallout 3 DLC. Love it to death, still love it to this day, but that is just my humble opinion here. I would love to hear what yours is. What do you like more? Fallout 3's Point Lookout? Do you like the pit? Don't say Mothership Zeta. Don't do it. Don't. I know, I might have to make a video on why that's the worst. That might be a good idea. We'll see what the comments are. Okay? But with that, it's time for me to sign out. I hope you enjoyed this video and love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Appreciate each and every single one of you, and I'll talk with you soon. Stay sexy, stay active, I love you all. Peace.